What's up guys, Mickle here, and in this video we're going to go over a very interesting concept that might shock a lot of you, and that is, does it even really matter if Ripple wins this current case against the SEC? Now obviously that sounds like a pretty shocking statement, but I want to break down exactly what I mean by this, because there is actually a very realistic scenario where Ripple could lose this case and nothing bad could happen to XRP. In this video, I want to talk about this perspective, and despite the fact that I am extremely bullish that Ripple is going to win this case, I want to talk about what could happen if Ripple loses and why I don't think it's going to be as bad as many people are saying. I also saw a very interesting comment from MasterCard earlier today saying that they didn't think SWIFT, the interbank messaging payment system, is going to be around in 5 years from now. In this video, I want to show you my response to that statement because I think it's going to make some of you very excited. Like always, if you enjoy videos like this, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It's going to help this channel out so much and help it grow into the future. Also, if you ever need a good place to buy some XRP or the Flare token, make sure to check out my favorite exchange Uphold down in the description of this video. With that said though, let's jump right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So let's jump right into the video, and I want to start off and just talk about why it might not matter as much as some people think if Ripple loses the current Ripple SEC case. And I just want to break that down because I think it's going to make you guys understand that even if Ripple loses, which most people don't think they are going to lose, things could still be perfectly fine for XRP. And I want to break that down because it's just going to make you so much more bullish on any potential outcome of this case. So first of all, this was brought up by T on Twitter. He said, random thought, Ripple losing the case, unlikely, doesn't mean you know what. If the SEC declares XRP a security alongside other coins, they only speak for the United States. This is happening while the rest of the world is starting to divest from the dollar and adopt other cryptocurrencies not as securities. And this is a great point right here because at the end of the day, even if XRP was a security in the United States, well, first of all, it's a currency and a commodity almost everywhere else in the world, which likely means it's not going to make much of a difference for XRP overall, but also it doesn't necessarily have to be a death sentence for XRP. Right now, based on how securities laws are written in the United States, it would be hard for Ripple to use XRP like they want to with a security designation. But that doesn't mean those rules can't change. We know that Congress is ultimately going to have to pass special laws on digital assets. Congress can pass laws that makes digital assets work in the security designation. And this is something almost no one talks about. Right now, the reason Ripple and other cryptocurrency companies can't register with the SEC is because the definition simply doesn't fit and registering the digital asset doesn't make any sense. But that can change. We need to understand that the word security was just some made-up term defined by humans. And at the end of the day, you can jam anything into that jurisdiction as long as a definition makes sense. What I want to point out here is even if the off chance that Ripple does lose this case and XRP is improperly called a security, it doesn't necessarily mean that XRP could never be used for its intended purpose in the United States. It might take a little longer to get that mass adoption we've all been waiting for. It might create some complex scenarios in the short term, but ultimately the technology will figure itself out. Ultimately, the biggest banks in the entire world, the central banks in the United States, are going to want to be able to use technology that the rest of the world is using. If the biggest banks all over the world, and we already know Ripple's working with these banks, start using XRP for its drastically more efficient technology, well, the banks in the US are also going to want to use that technology, or at the least they're going to want to be able to interoperate with that. Because of that, they're going to go to the politicians and say, hey, you need to give a designation to this technology so we can use it. And whether or not they call it a security or commodity, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because as long as the technology is working properly, XRP's value is gonna go up in price because it just needs to be able to account for the liquidity demands of the network. And that has absolutely no bearing on what us humans are calling the asset. I think that's a really important perspective to make sure you keep in mind because, like I said, all indications are that Ripple's going to win this case. But even if they don't, it doesn't have to be a death sentence for XRP. And I want to point out something else very interesting, because even in the library case, which was just decided on by the judge, and that was a very negative ruling for library, even in that case where the judge could barely understand what a cryptocurrency was, admitted to the SEC and library that the LBC token traded on the secondary market really can't be a security. So what we're learning is even a judge who didn't really understand cryptocurrency and was likely siding with the SEC the majority of the case, not even that judge was ready to make the declaration that the library token itself is a security. Right now in the current Ripple SEC case, we have a judge who does understand cryptocurrency. We have a judge who said the SEC is not following a faithful allegiance to the law. What do we think she's going to say on secondary sales? There is no way she's going to take a stance harsher than the library judge, and everything is indicating that it is almost guaranteed she is not going to call the XRP token a security on the secondary market. So that means the worst case scenario is already completely stripped out of this case. All we're left with after that is, can Ripple still sell XRP for their business? And like I said earlier, whether or not they can or cannot under the current securities laws, it can always be figured out in the future. We're going to have new politicians, we're going to have new people at the SEC, and eventually that legal definition is going to get worked out. The worst thing that could possibly happen is really just in the short term under Gary Gensler, and we really don't even know how much longer he's going to be at the helm of the SEC. The most important thing to note, though, is that this technology is international. This technology won't be able to be destroyed by single politicians in the United States, and no matter what comes out of this case, a lot of the worst case scenarios are already taken off the table. I think this is a very good sign going forward and really limits any downside risk. BitBoy Crypto tweeted out earlier today, in my opinion, as long as XRP gets at least a favorable settlement and no appeal, this will be the #1 performing major coin in the next bull run. The suppression is almost over. And I think he's spot on right here. At the end of the day, XRP is one of the few cryptocurrencies with real utility to help transform our financial markets. And right now, we are actually in a very unique scenario where there has been a ton of price suppression because institutions were forced to divest their holdings. We are looking at a potential scenario where XRP could be the first cryptocurrency in the United States to have certain regulatory clarity, a status that no other asset has, and us retail investors actually have the ability to front run the institutions. And that's because we don't have to worry about the risk of shareholders coming to us and saying, hey, why were you buying this illegal security? We don't have to worry about that risk, and because of that, we can actually beat the institutions into XRP. I have heard countless interviews of large crypto hedge funds saying that their #1 institutional interest cryptocurrency is XRP. And those people are pretty much just out of XRP right now because they can't touch it because of the SEC case. Ultimately, what I am getting at is the biggest bearish thing on XRP's price now. This current case, this has been holding us back and suppressing the price, is ultimately going to turn into a massive bullish catalyst. As soon as institutions have the ability to get back into XRP, they are going to flood in because it is going to be a flip of the switch moment where instantaneously XRP goes from being the biggest liability cryptocurrency in terms of a regulatory standpoint to the most certain and least risky cryptocurrency on the market. This is going to allow institutions to flood into the asset. This is going to allow institutions to start using XRP for its intended purpose, and I completely agree with BitBoy Crypto that this is going to cause a massive sentiment shift in XRP in the next bull run. And I want to finish this video off and quickly share with you something that was brought to my attention a couple months ago. It was extremely shocking, but we have just seen so much news over the last couple months, I almost completely forgot about it. And it was actually the CEO of MasterCard making a very bold statement that in 5 years, SWIFT might not exist. Well, if SWIFT doesn't exist in 5 years, there is only one company I know of that has the potential to take over what SWIFT is doing and actually significantly upgrade it. And I think you guys know exactly who I'm talking about. So I want to play you guys a clip I made that I think is a perfect response to the MasterCard CEO. I hope you enjoy it and everyone have a great night.
Once upon a time, the world of interbank payments was dominated by SWIFT, the global messaging network that connects banks and financial institutions. However, a new technology emerged, Ripple, and slowly but surely, it began to disrupt the industry. Ripple's blockchain-based platform allowed for near-instant and low-cost cross-border payments without the need for intermediaries. It also provided enhanced security and transparency, making it an attractive option for banks looking to improve their payment systems. As more and more banks began to adopt Ripple, its popularity grew, and it soon replaced SWIFT as the predominant interbank payment network. The benefits of Ripple's platform were simply too great to ignore. As Ripple became more widely adopted, the use of its digital asset XRP in the company's on-demand liquidity (ODL) product began to increase. ODL enables banks and financial institutions to use XRP as a bridge currency to facilitate cross-border payments, reducing the cost and time involved in such transactions. With banks using XRP and ODL, demand for the cryptocurrency increased, driving up its price. Institutions began buying XRP in large quantities to ensure they had enough liquidity to facilitate their payments. Investors also took notice, recognizing the potential of Ripple's technology to revolutionize the financial industry. They began buying up XRP in large volumes, causing its price to skyrocket even further. As Ripple continued to gain traction, it became clear that the financial industry would never be the same. The traditional methods of cross-border payments were being replaced by a faster, more efficient, and more secure system. In the end, Ripple's success led to a surge in the price of XRP, making it one of the most valuable cryptocurrencies on the market. The world of finance had been forever changed, thanks to the innovation of Ripple and the adoption of XRP in its ODL product.